Welcome to ENCORE of Legends. I'm Kevin. Here, we honor legendary figures whose stories continue to inspire beyond their final curtain. From film and music to sports and culture, we revisit their journeys, achievements, and unforgettable moments. Join us in celebrating lives that left a lasting impact and continue inspiring generations around the world. Dick Button, born July 18, 1929, was one of the most influential figures in the history of figure skating. He passed away at the age of 95, leaving behind a legacy defined by innovation, athletic excellence, and a lifelong dedication to the sport he helped transform. Olympic success and innovation as a competitor, Button quickly rose to prominence as an Olympic champion, admired for his creativity and technical precision. He introduced new jumps and combinations that had never been performed in competition before, helping to shift figure skating from a traditional style into a more athletic and expressive discipline. His performances set new standards and inspired future generations of skaters. Voice of the sport, after retiring from competition, Dick Button became a respected television commentator, known for his clear, insightful explanations of complex routines. His ability to break down technique helped audiences better understand and appreciate the sport, making figure skating more accessible worldwide. Lasting legacy. Throughout his life, he remained closely connected to the skating world, shaping it both on and off the ice. Dick Button is remembered as a true pioneer whose influence continues to define modern figure skating through both his innovations and his voice. Ed Buckby passed away at the age of 89, leaving behind a life closely connected to service and education. A U.S. Army veteran, he carried a lifelong commitment to discipline, purpose, and public service that later guided his work in space education. Building a space legacy. He is best known as the founding director of the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Alabama. Under his vision, it became one of the most important space museums in the United States, preserving NASA's history and making space exploration accessible to the public in an engaging and inspiring way. Space Camp and educational impact. Buckby also created Space Camp, a groundbreaking program designed to introduce young people to space science and exploration. Over the years, it inspired thousands of future scientists and astronauts, including Christina Koch, who trained there before her NASA missions. Legacy and lasting influence. Ed Buckby is remembered for turning curiosity into opportunity and education into inspiration. His work continues to influence generations of learners and explorers, ensuring that his vision for space education lives on far beyond his lifetime. Claims circulating online that actress Jennifer Renan has passed away at the age of 65 are not supported by any verified or reliable public sources. As of established entertainment records and available reporting, there has been no confirmed announcement regarding her death. In situations involving lesser publicized performers, especially those with smaller but steady television careers, misinformation can sometimes spread without verification, making it important to rely on credible news outlets or official statements before accepting such reports as fact. Career and screen appearances. Jennifer Renan is best known for a brief but memorable appearance in Ghostbusters, particularly in the film's opening sequence, involving the ESP experiment alongside Dr. Peter Venkman. While the role was small, it became part of a widely recognized and frequently revisited scene in pop culture. She also appeared in films such as Up the Creek and the television movie A Very Brady Christmas, building a steady presence in 1980s screen entertainment. On television, she was seen in a variety of popular series, including Charles in Charge, where she played Gwendolyn Pierce, as well as guest appearances on shows like Magnum P.I., Quantum Leap, and Murder, She Wrote. These roles reflected a working career built on versatility across both comedy and drama. In summary, rather than confirmed news of passing, the available information points to a working actress remembered for supporting roles across film and television during the 1980s and early 1990s. Loretta Swit, born on November the 4th, 1937, built a distinguished career in television, film, and theater. From early in her life, she showed a strong interest in acting, eventually developing into one of the most recognizable performers of her generation. Her work is widely associated with intelligence, emotional depth, and strong character portrayal. Breakthrough role on M.A.S.H. Swit became internationally known for her role as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan in the television series M.A.S.H., which aired from 1972 to 1983. Over the course of the series, she transformed the character from a strict authority figure into a layered, compassionate, and human presence. Her performance earned her 2 Emmy Awards and multiple nominations, and it played a key role in redefining how women in leadership roles were portrayed on television. Other screen and stage work beyond MASH. Swit appeared in projects such as the pilot for Cagney and Lacey and performed on Broadway in productions including Same Time Next Year. These roles demonstrated her versatility and ability to move between television and live theater with ease. Advocacy and Legacy Swit was also deeply committed to animal welfare, using her public platform to support animal rights causes and raise awareness. Her career is remembered not only for its artistic success, but also for its influence on representation and character complexity in television. She remains a celebrated figure in entertainment history for both her performances and her advocacy. Michael J. Fox was born in 1961 in Edmonton, Alberta, and grew up in a family that valued discipline, stability, and hard work over artistic ambition. His father worked in the military and later in public service, while his mother managed payroll and brought warmth and humor into the household. Because of his father's postings, the family moved often, eventually settling in Burnaby, British Columbia. Life was ordinary in many ways, but for Michael, there was always a sense that he didn't quite fit the mold of predictability around him. He was small in stature, energetic, and constantly observing people, almost as if he was collecting material for something he didn't yet understand. At school, he wasn't the obvious standout. He wasn't the tallest, strongest, or most academically driven student. But something changed when he discovered drama classes. On stage, the awkwardness he carried in the daily life seemed to disappear. He could become confident, expressive, and funny in a way that felt natural rather than forced. Acting wasn't just entertainment for him, it became the first space where he felt fully in control of himself. By his mid-teens, he had already begun working in small television roles, and although the projects were modest, they confirmed something important. This wasn't just a hobby, it was direction. His family supported him, but with caution. They worried about stability, as any practical family might. Acting seemed uncertain, unpredictable, and full of rejection, but Michael's mind was already made up in a quiet, determined way. He didn't see it as a risky path. He saw it as the only one that made sense. That conviction would eventually carry him far beyond his hometown into a world far bigger and harsher than anything he had known. Leaving home, and the hard reality of Hollywood. At 18, Michael made a decision that would define his entire life. He left Canada for Los Angeles with little money, no strong industry connections, and no guarantee of success. What he carried instead was belief, unshaped but intense, that he belonged in acting. The early years in LA were far from glamorous. He lived in small apartments, often surviving on very little, and moved from one audition to another with more rejection than success. Casting rooms could be cold places where judgments were made in seconds, sometimes even before he spoke. One of the most persistent barriers he faced was his height. He was noticeably shorter than many leading actors, and in an industry obsessed with appearance, this became an immediate filter for rejection. Still, he kept going. There were moments of doubt, nights where returning home might have felt easier, but the idea of giving up felt heavier than the struggle itself. That mindset, quiet persistence rather than loud confidence, became one of his defining traits. Eventually, small roles began to appear, and with them came survival stability rather than success. These early jobs were not glamorous, but they were proof that he was moving forward. He was learning how the industry worked, how to adapt, how to endure disappointment without letting it harden him. What separated him from many others wasn't sudden talent discovery. It was consistency. He showed up repeatedly in a system built to reject most people. Looking back, those years were not wasted time, but preparation. They shaped his discipline, his resilience, and his understanding that success in entertainment was less about luck alone and more about lasting through the moments when luck was absent entirely. Breakthrough with Family Ties. Everything changed when he was cast in the television series Family Ties in the early 1980s. The show initially focused on a family dynamic shaped by generational and political differences, but Michael's role as Alex P. Keaton quickly became the standout. His portrayal of a sharp, ambitious, and humor-driven young conservative created a character audiences couldn't ignore. What made him special wasn't just comedic timing, but emotional layering. He made even exaggerated traits feel believable and alive. The success of the show came quickly, and Michael transitioned from struggling actor to household name almost overnight. Awards followed, including Emmy wins and widespread recognition across television audiences. Suddenly, the boy who had been rejected for being too short or too unknown was appearing on magazine covers and becoming one of the most recognizable young actors in America. Fame, however, did not slow him down. Instead, it fueled a desire for bigger challenges. Even while working on Family Ties, he began pursuing film opportunities, often pushing himself into demanding schedules that left little room for rest. This period of his life was defined by momentum, constant work, constant movement, and constant public attention. But beneath the success was a pace that few could sustain for long. Still, he handled the pressure with remarkable energy. He was not just acting in roles, he was building a career identity that balanced humor, emotional depth, and relatability. The industry began to see him as more than a sitcom actor. He was becoming a star capable of carrying films, a transition that would soon be tested by one of the most iconic roles of his career. Back to the Future and global stardom. When Michael was cast, Back to the Future, the production itself was already unstable. The original casting had changed, and the film needed someone who could bring energy, timing, and emotional relatability to the role of Marty McFly. Michael was not the first choice, but he became the defining one. His schedule during filming was extreme. He was simultaneously working on Family Ties during the day and filming Back to the Future at night, often working long hours with minimal rest. The exhaustion was real, but so was the opportunity. He understood that the project had the potential to become something special, and he committed fully. When the film was released in 1985, it became a cultural phenomenon. Audiences connected instantly with its humor, heart, and imagination. Michael's performance was central to that success. Marty McFly was not just a character, he became a symbol of youthful energy and optimism. The film's global success transformed Michael into an international star almost overnight. With fame came opportunity. More films, more visibility, and more pressure. He appeared in several major projects throughout the late 1980s, each reinforcing his status as one of Hollywood's most bankable young actors. Yet the pace of his life remained relentless. He was constantly working, constantly traveling, and constantly performing. It was during this period of peak success that something subtle began to change physically. At first, it was so small it could easily be dismissed, a faint tremor, a slight stiffness, but it marked the beginning of a journey that would redefine everything. Early symptoms and diagnosis. In the early 1990s, while filming Doc Hollywood, Michael noticed something unusual, a persistent tremor in his hand. At first, it seemed minor, something that could be explained by fatigue or overwork, but it didn't go away. Over time, the symptoms expanded: stiffness, subtle loss of control, and increasing difficulty in managing small movements. Despite initial reassurance from general medical consultations, Michael's intuition told him something deeper was happening. After further evaluation by specialists, he received a diagnosis that would change his life: young-onset Parkinson's disease. The condition is progressive and neurological, affecting movement and control, and at the time, there was no cure. He was 29 years old. The diagnosis created an immediate internal conflict. On one hand, there was shock and fear about the future. On the other, there was uncertainty about how to continue living publicly in an industry that often viewed physical vulnerability as professional risk. He chose to keep the diagnosis private, sharing it only with a very small circle of trusted people. This decision was not denial. It was survival within a system that offered little protection for actors with chronic illness. Work continued, but now every performance carried an additional hidden layer. Behind the scenes, he began adjusting routines, timing medication, and carefully managing symptoms so that his professional life could continue as normally as possible. It marked the beginning of a long period where his public image and private reality diverged significantly. Living and working in silence for several years, Michael continued working while privately managing Parkinson's disease. On set, he developed subtle strategies to conceal symptoms, adjusting posture, using props, and timing movements to align with periods when medication was most effective. To colleagues and audiences, he remained energetic and professional, but behind the scenes, daily life required increasing effort. His legacy increasingly shifted away from entertainment alone and toward resilience, advocacy, and transformation of public awareness. He demonstrated that chronic illness does not erase identity, but reshapes it. Rather than withdrawing from public life, he helped redefine how society understands long-term illness, less as invisibility and more as lived experience. Today, his story is often viewed not just as a career narrative, but as a human one, about adaptation, endurance, and purpose beyond circumstance. While the physical effects of the disease continue, his influence remains strong through research advancements, cultural awareness, and the millions of people inspired by his approach to life under difficult conditions. His journey ultimately reflects a simple but powerful idea that a life is not defined by what it takes away, but by what is built in response to it.